Well, gobble, gobble. Welcome in. It is Feast Week here in college hoops, and certainly want to wish you and yours a very happy and profitable Thanksgiving week coming up. Plenty of college hoops action already underway on this Tuesday. Yes, I'm pretty sure it's still Tuesday here, the 21st of November. And we still have plenty of games we want to break down for you coming up here a little bit later today. And we're going to do it with three of the best at WagerTalk.com. Nobody does college hoops quite like these three gentlemen here as we welcome in Jeff Michaels in the house, Bryan Leonard, also in an undisclosed location somewhere in Cleveland to Vegas. You figure out where it is. And, of course, Rob Vino in the house as well. Gentlemen, we are off and running with some games here today, but why don't we kick it off with one coming up a little bit later here today, Jeff, and we're going to talk about a little Baltimore County here, University of Maryland taking on, well, Maryland. Yes, in fact, who has got all sorts of issues so far this year. Mostly they can't score. But don't let that get in the way of them laying, 20 in this one? So what are we doing here with UNBC taking on Maryland?
Yeah, Maryland struggled, obviously, against the spread especially. But, I'm looking at the...
Yeah, I just want to go on record and say that is definitely not Maryland taking on UNBC, although the KU and Marquette graphic is fantastic. But this is absolutely not what we were looking at. Oh, I got them in reverse order. Is that why? Well, go ahead. You can start. It doesn't matter. They're both there. Throw the other graphic on. It's fine. Yeah, that's right. Well, don't throw up a KU graphic when we sit there and we already serve up Maryland. So go ahead. This is your best bet as well. But as far as I'm concerned, they're both best bets. So go ahead. Break this one down here.
Yeah, UNBC Maryland, exciting game, no question. Looking at an interstate matchup here, and definitely an exciting little big brother, little brother kind of rivalry. But one of the biggest things that stood out to me was the difference in tempo between these two teams. UNBC is actually number one in tempo, in offensive possession length. They're running the fastest offense in the country. And Maryland is just outside that bottom number, sitting outside 350 out of 363 teams in Division I right now. And Maryland's offense has had their issues. They are shooting well from beyond the arc. They're shooting over 41%, but only 25% of their points are actually coming from beyond the arc. UMBC has actually been pretty good defending the three-point shot, but where Maryland's actually done a lot of their damage has been at the free throw line and getting there consistently and getting there multiple times per game. But 24.6% of Maryland's points this season so far have come from the free throw line. Almost 25% of their points are coming from that charity stripe. And that's one thing that UMBC hasn't struggled with. They're not fouling opponents. They're really not giving them the free chances. And with how much their offense is drastically faster than that Maryland offense, that obviously is going to give them multiple opportunities with the ball on offense. So, I don't think that this game's going to be an upset. But I do think laying 20 with Maryland here on a team that's definitely struggled to cover against the spread this season is going to be too many here in this rivalry. UMBC's had a history of being able to cover the spread against the big brother kind of team there. And I think that they got a shot to do it again tonight. So I'm going to take the 20 points in this one and go with UMBC over Maryland.
Always fun in these little brother, big brother kind of matchups here early on in the season. We'll see if the little brother can get it done here tonight against Maryland. That is an awful lot of points in that matchup there as we welcome in Bryan Leonard to the house. And Bryan, welcome in here on this Thanksgiving week. And also I will, and Bryan knows this as well, whether it be Bryan, whether it be Jeff, whether it be Rob, a little Thanksgiving from Wager Talk here, giving you guys the opportunity to hop on board with Bryan, who's got Best bets loaded up, ready to go for just $69 this week. That's 7 days of an all-access package. Every play, every sport. You get to partner up with these guys for less than $10 a day here. And no doubt, Bryan, getting ready for a loaded rivalry week in college football, of course, NFL coming up, and plenty of college basketball. And talk to me about this game happening in Vegas tonight against Toledo. I know one of your favorites there. Taking on New Mexico in your backyard. How are you approaching this one, Brian?
Before we break down this game, I just want to touch base on what happened earlier. I go through, and anytime I'm on a show, I always go through. I think a lot of guys do go through and try to answer any questions from previous videos. There was one, I guess, I was on, and there was the wrong graphic in the back, and somebody said there was clickbait. We don't care about clickbait. I mean, it was a graphic mistake, and that's what it was. We weren't trying to pull anything over on anybody. We're all trying to work together on this, and sometimes mistakes happen, just like it did earlier, but it can be corrected.
And we don't want anybody actually listening to the words that come out of your mouth, right? Like we don't. No. We want the pop-up book, because we don't want anybody to actually have to digest what we're saying on the show. Let's worry about the graphic and the wrong team. I'm with you. I got it. I understand.
It happens. It happens to everybody. But anyway, you did talk about this being in Las Vegas, but actually it's in Henderson, Nevada, and Rob knows, because he and I, it's right across the street from Sunset Station, and we used to live in that neighborhood. Both of us, not together. If we were living together, I'd have made him pay. But no, we were in the same area. It was nice to have him close. But yeah, it's in Henderson, Nevada, and that's part of the main reason for the handicapping on this, because a lot of people just assume it's Las Vegas. The Rockets play a perfect 3-0 on the season, straight up in ATS. This is a team that won 27 games last year while winning the MAC regular season. Coach Todd Kowalski has had great success at Toledo, especially offensively. The Rockets have been a top 40 team each of the last couple of years here, last 3 years, I believe, in adjusted offensive efficiency. This is the best recruiting class that Toledo's had in years. So losing 3 contributors to graduation will soften the blow with the guys that are bringing in there. But the Rockets, for the first time in a while, are not projected to win the MAC, which makes this a really good team in my mind to back, because I think they're right there what they were in the past. They just don't have the well-known players. New Mexico, 2-1 straight up, but they've cashed only once on the season. And that lone loss was to a St. Mary's team who has since lost 3 straight games. So we really don't know what we have out of this New Mexico team. I don't want to put my money on them at this point. We'll see what happens later. But Richard Pitino was hired last year, leading the Lobos to 22 wins. But this team is very transfer heavy. And while we say that, the best players they brought in last year were transfers. And just about everybody they brought in this year is transfers. So this is a team we expect to get better as the year goes on in New Mexico. We've got a good, proven coach. Tradition in New Mexico is very good. But I just don't think they're going to be ready this early in the season. And as I mentioned, their 2 wins were against weaker opposition. But like Toledo, New Mexico struggled defensively a year ago. They also look to have depth problems in the early going. While the Lobos play in Las Vegas regularly, this tournament is being played in Henderson. It's about 10 miles south of the Thomas and Mack where UNLV plays, so that court familiarity won't be there for New Mexico. A lot of times you expect these to be played on the campus courts, and they're not. And so that point or so you would give New Mexico for playing in Vegas every year, at least twice, you won't be able to give that here. Totally different court. And I like this Toledo team. I think that's the team we're going to back here. And I think Toledo wins this game by 5 or so. I like the way this team is setting up. New Mexico will be good, but they'll be better later on in the season.
Visited a beautiful ranch once in Henderson, Nevada. Very, very beautiful landscape there at that ranch. So let me bring in Rob Vino if we could. Really nice, wonderful. Look it up on a map. It's great. Really stands out. What are you thinking here, Vino? We've got. Let me make sure I got the right order here, because I love this one too. Here with UC Irvine taking on Pepperdine here tonight. Actually, not a crazy number, all things being considered, but how are you looking at this one?
Yeah, and just for the record, Joe, Brian and I did not live together at that
At
undisclosed
that
ranch that
ranch?
you were just talking about. Otherwise, we'd have a
Unless it was
story if
Sherry's
that was
ranch
the
out in
case.
Prim, or Pahrump, we might have
Yeah,
crossed paths there.
yeah. Oh,
Oh my
Brian's
God.
Bunny Ranch over there.
Yep.
Let's let's look at it, Joe, because maybe we're looking at it the same way. Pepperdine, I think we found out in their most recent game that the first four were kind of fraudulent. It's hard to tell if Lorenzo Romar was working on anything with his squad, but the fact that they only allowed 62 points per game over the course of their first four, probably more a product of the scheduling, right? Concordia, Cal Davis, Lafayette, LAU. Then they play UNLV and they give up 82 points and 58% shooting. That's more typical of what Lorenzo Romar brings to the table with his squads. It's an up and down pace. They don't play a heck of a lot of defense. They try and outscore you. They couldn't outscore UNLV in that game, lose by 14. Still the same tempo type team. They're averaging 72 possessions per game. The real surprise is, Russell Turner's been the head coach of Irvine for a long, long time. And I had to go back and look because it was 9 consecutive years where this team, offensive tempo wise, ranked in the low to upper 200s. Just a slow half court style team, want to beat you 60 to 58 rather than 80 to 78. But last year they turned it up a notch. His team rose all the way to number 51 in the nation in tempo. And again, they're at it with quicker tempo. So probably why we see the number where it's at. It has dropped to 148, the total. But I'm more inclined to play the side here. Cal Irvine has already beaten New Mexico State, which was picked number 1 in their conference this year. They've beaten USC, who we know is a real good basketball team. They beat both of those teams by 17 and 10 points back to back. So certainly they've been tested already this season, where Pepperdine's failed the only test that they had. If I just look at matchups that could hurt Pepperdine, 5 games played, 4 against weaker opposition, and they're number 307 in the nation in turnovers. If you're going to turn it over to Irvine at that rate, then you're going to be in even bigger trouble. Irvine's had a little bit of difficulty on the boards, which is kind of surprising with their 7-1 center, but I don't know if it's enough to help Pepperdine overcome it. I was a little surprised the number was this low, Joe. I know it's a neutral site, not a home game here, Dollar Loan Center in Henderson. But I'm going to play Irvine here. I just think right now what they've shown us after 4 or 5 games is far better than what Pepperdine has shown us. For Pepperdine to win, it's going to have to be a very high-scoring game with them shooting lights out. And right now, Irvine ranks 59th in the nation in effective field goal percentage allowed. So give me UC Irvine minus the 6. I think I saw a 5.5 out there. So if you really want to shop, you could probably get it even cheaper.
Yeah, I don't think they Lorenzo Romer hasn't done a whole lot of teaching defense over the years there at Pepperdine. I think it's just, go ahead, guys, run up and down the court as fast as you can, and let's see how many points you can make. It's going to be an interesting matchup here, but Irvine, worth a look at a lot of spots, I think, coming up this year here, Vino, for sure. All right, you got 3 games there. We got 3 more to get to, including what some are considering maybe the marquee matchup of the night there in the Maui Invitational, as Kansas is going to be taking on Marquette, who got by UCLA late last night. Now they got the Jayhawks here, Jeff, and some people believe whoever wins this game probably goes on maybe to win the whole tournament. What do you think we're going to get in this matchup here tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. And, we're not definitely no clickbait here because we're still talking about this game. Maybe a little miscommunication at one point or another, but hey, it's still here and I'm still breaking it down. And I definitely had, to look at this one because everybody's going to have eyes on it tonight. No question. An exciting matchup, late night TV, leading into that Thanksgiving couple days that we got full of sports here. But you look at these two teams, and at least offensively, they've been relatively even on the season. I mean, Kansas is number 3 in the entire nation in effective field goal percentage, shooting over 65%, almost 66%. But Marquette really isn't far behind. They're 28th in the country, still in that top 10% in the nation, almost 55% themselves. Kansas has done it really at both levels, 10th in 3-point percentage, 3rd in 2-point percentage in the country. Marquette is 25th in the nation in 2-point shooting percentage inside the arc. And I point that out because neither one of these teams really has been great defending shots outside the arc. Marquette has taken noticeably more shots from 3-point range. So the consistency there, but also the ability to score inside, definitely makes me think that we're going to see a close game here. You know, Kansas, new addition this year, Hunter Dickinson is a huge piece that I don't really think a whole lot of people expected to move out of Michigan, especially, you know, the start that we see this year. Imagine what they could have been, you know, with him, or what they are because they don't have him. But either way, you know, Kansas has to be happy to see him. He's leading the team in points. He's leading the team in rebounds. And Kansas is number 1 in assist percentage in the country. But, you know, despite having the offensive and the defensive edge for Kansas, I really think that there's some potential here getting this many points with Marquette. They're both high-tempo teams on the offensive side of the ball. And, you know, it's really going to come down to Marquette's 3-point shooting here, I think. Marquette has the ability to put up shots and make them, obviously, from beyond the arc. And Kansas has kind of been playing a little more of that inside ball. The reason that Kansas has shot so well, honestly, from outside the arc is because they haven't taken quite as many shots as teams like this Marquette team has. So Marquette's hitting. I really think Marquette has a shot to pull this game off here. But I'd be looking at the total, too, a little higher than, you know, I'd probably like to jump on with Kansas's defensive potential. But 157-point total here, I believe, last time I looked. It is a high number, but I still find myself leaning towards the over here with the way both defenses have struggled against those 3-point shots. So I think we could see we're going to see a high tempo game here, a lot of offensive pushing here in both in the top 15 in offensive possession length, or quickest 15, depending on which way you want to call it. But, you know, bad 3-point defense and fast tempo is normally going to point me towards that over. A little hesitant, like I said, at that 157. But regardless, I think the offensive matchups here are going to keep this game close. And I have to go with the dog and take the points, I think. I like Marquette here getting 4.5 points just because we are getting so many in this close matchup. And like you said, I really think the winner of this one could go on to win the tournament in the whole.
Yeah, what was the rule of thumb? We talked about it yesterday. Marquette as Shaka Smart teams as a favorite. Yeesh. Shaka Smart teams as an underdog. That's usually been pretty profitable over the years there. And that's where they find themselves here in this one tonight with a good shot of winning this game and moving on to take down the whole tournament. That's the Maui Invitational. We do have another game that Brian Leonard is going to talk about in Hawaii, I believe, here, Brian, when the Lumberjacks are going to take on the Rainbow Warriors here. What are you thinking about this one here tonight? Oh, by the way, like 1:30 in the morning tonight. It's actually tomorrow.
Well, that's exactly why I played I had UNLV listed. I was going to play UNLV, and I said, man, it gives them a few hours to get this video out. But now, no excuses. This is the last game on the board. If you joined late, you got something to bet on. Lumberjacks coming off a 12-23 season a year ago. They already have 5 games under the belts already this year. Unfortunately, they have 3 losses by 43, 34, and 10 points. In fact, all their games this year, the winner on the scoreboards also covered the spread. I guess that's probably good for Hawaii since they're a double-digit favorite here. This team is peaked in the conference tournament last year. They were very bad as the season went on. But they got to the tournament, got hot, and now there's a lot of expectations. Strength of this team has been the defense, and I expect more of the same this year. Very good defensive team. The problem is an unproven offense, along with a lack of depth. This is a young team. which is always a concern when you're playing in a tropical paradise like Hawaii. I always try to give teams who rarely play in Hawaii cut back a little bit on their power rating because it is such a great place to go. Especially, I have been in this area where northern Arizona is in Flagstaff and all. It snowed last time I was there, so these kids will be ready to go to Hawaii. Hawaii's off of a very good 22-11 campaign. They started the season 2-0. Injuries have really kept this team from breaking out the last couple of years. So I expect this to be a big year on the island. They can get a little bit better health here. They were right in it the last couple of years. One of the top 4, I believe, top 3, 4 the last couple of years in their league. But this could be the year for Hawaii here. Hawaii plays at a very slow pace, ranking 311th last year. Make no mistake about it. Hawaii wins with defense. Last year, they held opponents to the lowest 3-point attempt rate and the lowest assist rate in the country. You're going to win a lot of games doing that. You play very good defense. They do play slow, as I mentioned, but they play very good defense. Last year, the Hawaii offense struggled, which is why this team is looking to produce more offense from their outstanding defense, trying to get more fast break points in that regard. I think they'll do it. They've got a very good coach there. This is an experienced team with a bright future. In fact, this may be one of the top 5 oldest teams in college basketball. That's really a good advantage early in the season, is getting the guys that have played together for a long time and have a lot of depth. So give me Hawaii here. The line's going up about 1.5 points, but I think it's too short. I think this Northern Arizona team, because of how they finished the season last year, they're getting a little bit too much promotion here. Give me Hawaii. I think it's going to be a long night for the Lumberjacks.
All right. Well, yeah, you would imagine if, like, you start at the University of Hawaii as a freshman, like, where in the hell are you going? Like, I'm not going to Utah after that, Brian. Like, I'm going to stay for as long as I can. Or give me 6 years. I'm good. I have no problem doing that, though. Absolutely a very experienced squad here tonight with an opportunity to get it done. All right, one more game on the board here tonight, and this will also be, I am sure, one of the more watched games when you got 2 of the best in the country. You've got, I believe here, Vino, Purdue getting ready to take on Tennessee, both 4-0. Matt Painter versus Barnes. If this was in March, I wouldn't know who to fade. It would be a toss-up, but since it's November, this is a little more intriguing. So how do we look at this game here tonight between these 2?
Yeah, don't think I didn't consider it, Joe, because my allegiance is totally to fading Matt Painter in anything meaningful. But early season tournament, maybe not. So I got off of Tennessee +3, although I wouldn't want to talk anybody off of that. I think it's probably the right side here, but I'd prefer the under 133 in this game. 2 of the top 5 defensive efficiency teams in the nation here. Tennessee actually number 1 in the country right now. Purdue number 5. And they've both played some upper tier opposition early on. So the numbers are more meaningful than they are skewed for sure. Tennessee went to Wisconsin. Yesterday they played Syracuse. Syracuse tightened it up. And then Tennessee went on a defensive run, really, and opened up the margin. And Purdue has played Xavier. And, of course, yesterday shut down Gonzaga. So real good schedules played by each here. I think if you look at each team's ability to defend what the other offenses do best, I think that's where we find a push towards the under here. Both teams defend the perimeter extremely well, and it's no wonder Tennessee does because their guards are so experienced. They should defend well for Rick Barnes. They've been in that program for a long time. And for Purdue, the guards were freshmen last year, full year, got as far as they did into the tournament, then got knocked out, but they're certainly seasoned as well. Both of these teams can defend the 3, and it stops, the opposing 3-point shooting. Both of these teams have made a lot of hay shooting 3s so far this year. Tennessee gives up just under 26% from beyond the arc. Purdue only allowing 21%. That's good for 6th in the country. And Tennessee just slows opposing offenses down to a virtual crawl. And it's interesting, teams, when you look up seconds per possession, Tennessee opponents use up 19 seconds each possession. It's interesting because Purdue has played mostly fast-paced teams so far. They haven't really been in against a team like this that wants to just slow them down and go half court and play their defensive style. So I wonder how Purdue will handle it. Tennessee's a little bit smallish. Obviously, anybody who plays Zach Edey is going to be a little bit smallish, but over 52% of their points come from either the three-point line or the free throw line. They're not good scoring interior-wise. And if Purdue is going to shut down the threes, and then you have that giant wall, Zach Edey, at the rim, it's going to be difficult for Tennessee to score here. So another reason why you'd want to play the under. Um, Neither team, where rebounding is concerned, Tennessee doesn't offensive rebound. Purdue's a better defensive rebounding team. So a lot of one and outs on that side. I can just crisscross the numbers and tell you without giving you the numbers that it's going to be the same on the other side. If you get these one and outs, those are really good as well. I look at it this way. If you can get a couple of 4-minute stretches over the course of these 40 minutes where maybe you only get 4 to 6 points scored, 4-2 for 4 minutes and 4-0, something like that, then you're easily going to get under 133. I can't see any huge scoring runs in this game. Can't see the pace being picked up for any length of time. So if the 3-point shooting is as bad as it was yesterday, Purdue only made 5, or excuse me, Tennessee only made 5, and Purdue was like 4 of 17. If it's like that, it's an easy under. I'm going to play it that way, under 133.
Definitely think we're going to get some defense in there. So a couple of games here coming up tonight. A lot of eyeballs are going to be on one overnight, so you still have plenty of time to check out what's going on there with Hawaii taking on Northern Arizona. So a little something for everyone when it comes to college basketball. It's a great week for college hoops. It's also a great week to partner up with any of these guys here, whether it be Jeff Michaels and Brian Leonard or Rob Vino, or heck, all three of these guys, opportunity to get on board for a 7-day all-access pass. Just $69. That is less than $10 a day for an entire week here, guys. You can get every play, every sport with Rob, Brian, and Jeff. Just visit their page now at WagerTalk.com. We don't need any coupon codes, nothing like that. Just visit their page and partner up right now. Here is our way of saying thanks here from WagerTalk TV. And that will do it. Of course, much more college hoops all week long here on Wager Talk. And if you're new, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, make plans to come back and join us again tomorrow, as we've got plenty more games to preview. In fact, if a game previews you want, whether it be college football, NFL, college hoops, NHL, we've got you covered. So go ahead, hit that video on your screen right now, and you'll get access to all of the upcoming head-to-head matchups, along with plenty more best bets. Until tomorrow, guys, best of luck with all your plays. We'll talk to you again soon.